anti-Trump grumps who seem to be speaking to the cheap seats at MSNBC.
I'm asking you, sitting here today, whether you are aware of a factual predicate to investigate Liz Cheney.
Senator, nobody's asked me to investigate Liz Cheney. We're also worried about Liz Cheney, Senator.
The president has
You know what
called
we
for
should
this.
be worried about?
Ms. Bondi,
The
please
crime rate
answer
in
my question.
California right now
You are
is
aware,
through the roof.
Ms. Bondi,
Your robberies are 87% higher than the national
my question
average.
is this.
That's what I
My
want
question
to
is
focus
this.
on, Senator.
Do you have the power to say no to the president?
Does Adam Schiff really think that Americans lie awake at night, worrying, fretting about the fate of Liz Cheney? Talk about out of touch. This was a 6-hour exercise in liberal futility. It was like an extended campaign commercial for the GOP.
Under what circumstances will you prosecute journalists for what they write?
Is President-elect Trump eligible to run for another term as president in 2028?
Can you say no to the President of the United States when he asks you to do something unethical or illegal?
Like the Muppets. They still can't prove their Trump's a threat to democracy and such. It's unbelievable. It blew up in their faces on election day, but I guess he's got nothing else. Senator after senator sounded like they just ripped the pages out of Kamala's old debate prep.
He has also said illegal immigration is poisoning the blood of our nation. He said that in December 2023. Do you agree with that statement?
Senator, I am not familiar with that statement, but what I can tell you is I went to the border a few months ago. I went to Yuma, Arizona, and what I saw at that border was horrific, Senator. It was horrific. I went to a rape crisis center.
That is not my question.
I went to a rape crisis center. I'm not familiar with the statement, but I went to a rape crisis center. I met with Border Patrol agents. I'm sure you've been to the border as well. So
I want to get to my next question.
I want to make sure my staff has written my questions clearly because I can't think without the papers in front. But of course, once again, Bondi exposed the Democrats' real priority, and it is not the safety of the American people. And perhaps the most hilarious of many hilarious parts of the spectacle was when Democrats had the nerve to try to skewer Bondi on the weaponization of the justice system.
It would not be appropriate for a prosecutor to start with a name and look for a crime. It's a prosecutor's job to start with a crime and look for a name, correct?
Senator, I think that is the whole problem with the weaponization that we have seen the last 4 years and what's been happening to Donald Trump. They targeted Donald Trump. They went after him. I will not target people simply because of their political affiliation. Justice will be administered even-handedly throughout this country.
I love it when the senators do this, convey that they're bored with the whole proceeding. Well, newsflash, we're bored with you, okay? Finally, under the leadership of AG Bondi, I think the scales of justice will be at balance again. No more using the FBI as a squad, no more messing with the FISA courts, no more activist U.S. attorneys.
I will fight every day to restore confidence and integrity to the Department of Justice and each of its components. The partisanship, the weaponization will be gone. America will have one tier of justice for all.
As it always should have been and will be again. She's a superstar. Joining me now is Utah Senator Mike Lee of the Judiciary Committee.
Utah Senator is talking to Laura Ingraham. I want to be able to talk to you about what we just saw. I mean, Adam Schiff, Shifty Shift? What in God's name do you think's going on there, folks? You think he knows what he's talking about? You think he's got a clue, what we're doing and why we're doing it? Do you have a clue? Adam Shifty Shift, what is up with you? Do you know that you're causing us agita? You know, I feel it right here, right here. It's just too much. My God. Adam, please, figure it out. Make it so that you don't have to make everybody suffer. It's a little too much to suffer like this, wondering whether you are going to be doing things right for us, because we really need a leader that is going to lead us in the way that's going to make our lives better. And better, I mean now. We need to live now, folks, so we can do what it takes to have the kind of world that we need to live and understand how we are doing things. Look, what does the Lord want? Let's just say that God is a random God and he just does things randomly. What do you think he would want of us to do in this time of political craziness? Do you think he wants us just to sit back and go, oh, well, I'm going to do nothing and I'm going to let everybody else do it all and stand by and do nothing? Do you think God has the power to rectify all spirits to be able to do what they're supposed to do if God so wills it to be? Well, God doesn't like to interfere with the will of man, but if you ask God to help you, he will undoubtedly help you, because that's the kind of Father that we have in heaven. He will do what it takes to make us live a better, more productive life than we have chosen in the past, and we want that, and we want it now. Let's watch a little more of the news.
I was just reading. There's no organic moments. I want to ask you about this FISA court issue, because Senator Cornyn came out today and made a point in his questioning to press Pam Bondi on the efficacy of the FISA court, perhaps with some reforms, and worried that it's not going to be, funded again, that the court will be, lose its stature. You came out and said, not so fast.
That's right. I wanted to make sure that the rest of the country heard what I know about Pam Bondi, which is she understands the Fourth Amendment. She understands that the U.S. government can't go after your personal effects, your papers, your private communications without a warrant.
Warrantless searches.
Warrantless searches. And backdoor warrantless searches under FISA 702 have become a problem. We're told over and over again by FBI directors and attorneys general, don't worry about it. These aren't the droids you're looking for. We've got procedures to handle this. And they're lying. So Pam Bondi went on record today saying we shouldn't do that, and I'm thrilled that she did.
Oh, that was a good moment. Cornyn said it was basically a lot of misinformation about that's what he indicated about the FISA court, but you're saying that's not correct.
That's not correct, because we've had disclosure after disclosure where these guys have been abusing it left and right.
Well, they did with Trump. Look at what they did with Trump.
They did with Trump. Trump's not going to put up with it, neither is Pam.
Senator, with your background, they need you on this committee. I'm glad you're on it. Thank you so much. All right, the Biden administration's final days. It's getting sad and a little bit more confusing. And the First Lady takes a swing at Pelosi. Seen and unseen with Raymond Arroyo is next.
Ontario, Canada, your third largest trading partner and #1 export destination for 17 states. Our economic partnership keeps millions of Americans working. We're here, right by your side.
Taxes was waiting. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes in a day, so you can get up to $4,000 instantly. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax.
Man, remember that time when our eye bags made us look sexy? Yeah, me neither. Now, we can reduce our eye bags by drinking less alcohol, sleeping more, cold compresses, blah, 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 and blah. 1, that's way too much work. And 2, don't worry, there's Particle 6-in-1 face cream for men. All you have to do is wash your face daily and then rub it in.
We really need to do something about this instead of just watching television commercials all the time. I'm trying to put up something that you might be able to benefit from. And I got to find it now, and that's what I'm working on. And right now, what I got is the wrong screen location for this to occur, because I want to move this to this and this to that. So then you can see what I'm seeing. And what I want you to see is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is at $100,431.57. Now, that's all great and wonderful, but you got to kind of go backwards in time. Right now, that's at it's 7:28 Eastern Time on the 15th. So if we back it up a little bit, you can see that it's coming out of a dip. You see how it's going? The number's going down and down, and you see that you got to know when to buy into it. And I saw a 95 there a minute ago, but let's see if I can get back to that 95,000. I don't know if I can hit it again, but it's somewhere over there. Anyway, 96,000 is pretty low, and fair enough. On today it's 6:40 in the morning, and now it's 7:28 in the evening, and Bitcoin is absolutely sailing. Sailing, I tell you, my friends. It's sailing for the greatest that it could ever do. And you want it to. You want it to be something you're proud to have, and you want to make it so that it makes you some money. And this is what it looks like, the bigger it gets. And we want you to enjoy the profitability of Bitcoin. Now, I tell you, my guess is the closer we get to the day of inauguration, the higher the value of Bitcoin will get. So get your money out and prepare yourself to buy Bitcoin. The Lord wants you to have wealth while you're on earth and spend it right and give your 10% tithing. You need to do it right, and you need to choose wisely. And that's all I'm saying. I want you to do it successfully and be a happy camper. You can do this. You know what? We can all do this if we do it right. We don't have to worry and think, oh my God, what are we going to do now? We have to try, make an effort to see what's going on in the marketplace and see how we can get influence to do the right thing. This is what is important, folks. We have to try. So, randomly speaking, we got to get out of the rut we might be in. If you're in a depression, you got to figure a way out of it, even if you call on God, which you should be doing every day. God first. It's like, put Jesus first. Put Jesus first. In all things. Not in some things, in all things. And if you do that, and you have given yourself over to the Lord our God, and there is only one, no matter what they all say all around the world, there is only one God, Jesus Christ, God Almighty. I want you to be profitable, I want you to make some money, and I want you to take a chance on something that makes absolute sense. More than just regular sense, but common sense. Do you have common sense? We all should have common sense because it's important that we get our investments right. It's up to $100,431.57, and if I click the refresh, there it is, $100,315.12. It's just 7:31 p.m. Eastern Time on the 15th of January. We can do this, folks. We need to take a look at what's important in our hearts, minds, bodies, and souls, and we want to be able to get out of the financial rut we're in. And President Donald Trump is giving us a pathway to invest a few dollars. You don't have to come up with $100,000, $315.12. You don't. You buy Bitcoin, a small piece of it. That's what one coin is worth, $100,315.12. But you are buying a fraction of that to invest in Bitcoin. You don't have to have $100,000 to buy a Bitcoin. You can buy a percentage of that. You can buy 1/1000th of a Bitcoin. You know, so what is 1/1000th of $100,315? We got to ask ourselves, what is that number? What's that number, and how's it going to help us? Because we really need the help, and we need it right now. So I'm going to take a look at it for you. I'm going to open up the calculator, and I'm going to come over here in the calculator, and I'm going to say $100,315.12 times 0.0001. That's 1/1000th. Okay, that would be $10.03 to buy 1/1000th of a Bitcoin. It's not as bad as you think it is, folks. And you can still make some money from this. And I'm encouraging you to do that so that you're not left without. I want you to be included because you deserve that, that's for sure. And I'm going to go back to the news now. I want you to enjoy what we're looking at. And I hope you enjoy the show because that's what it's all about.
It doesn't matter anymore. This is absurd. But Biden isn't the only one, Laura, wrapping things up in the most embarrassing way possible. Kamala Harris appeared before Al Sharpton's group to spin her loss, which brings us to Kamala's word of the day, win.
Our definition of the win is a definition that takes us over a period of time, where part of how we measure the win is, are we making progress? How we measure the win is based on the knowledge that it is an enduring fight. Whatever the outcome of any particular moment, we can never be defeated.
It's shocking that she lost. Just shocking. I love how she nods. She gestures, then she nods. It's a very interesting approach.
How many times do you think Kamala Harris broke wind?
Unless you own a casino, you shouldn't be using the word win after you lose a major election. This is a disaster. I mean, but you're right. This is why she lost the election. She never could level with the audience or the voters. And they see through this stuff.
Inauthentic, tedious, and not very bright. Yeah.
And also, taking her last bow is First Lady Jill Biden. She's not forgiven Nancy Pelosi, Laura, for shoving Biden out of the presidential race. She tells the Washington Post, quote, "I've been thinking a lot about relationships. We were friends for 50 years. It was disappointing." You could almost feel the, the stiletto coming out. Jill has always been a little touchy about this topic, though, Laura.
Any message to House Democrats who are calling for your husband to drop out of the race? Why are you screaming at me? You know me. Don't scream at me. Just let me talk.
She's aggressive when it comes to this topic. You know why? She kept Biden in the race, Laura. But we should call Dana White and see if he can set up a match between Jill Biden and Pelosi. The lip versus the hip. I'd pay for that all day long.
Well, but the doctor, first of all, you have to call her Dr. Jill Biden. I can't believe you still haven't learned that in 4 years.
Dr. Lip.
The doctor is in a state of fury. And that's going to continue for some time. So, Nancy, watch your hip and your back. All right,
that's
Raymond.
the angle.
And that's the angle.
Bye-bye.
Raymond, by the way, Mike Lee just said you're incredibly funny. He just like, Raymond is so funny. And he said, I've never met him.
He does a fine job.
All right, Raymond, thank you. All right, the Trump effect already in full swing. But what does that mean? Charlie Kirk will explain, and that's next.
You believe he was sent by God?
At another time, but Charlie Kirk is a very intelligent and wonderful human being that knows a lot about what he's talking about. So I encourage you folks to let Charlie Kirk reach you and speak to you because he is a very smart guy. But one thing I want to talk to you about before I sign off tonight, and that is TikTok. What is TikTok? Is it the Chinese stealing and spying on Americans? Or is it just the Chinese doing whatever they can to learn a little bit about us? Or is it up for sale and it's going to be sold or shut down? What do you think is going to happen of TikTok, 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 TikTok? It's a matter of time. It's a matter of ticks and tocks. How long does TikTok have before it's shut down, sold, or, I don't know, reborn? Saying I'm saved? Christ got my TikTok says I'm saved? Come on, folks. No matter what happens, TikTok is going to stick around one way or another, even if it comes under new management. Because people like the idea of swiping up on their screens and seeing those weird, strange things. And also putting on videos on those services like TikTok. But they want to keep the Chinese out of our house, and the Chinese out of our bedrooms, and the Chinese out of our kitchens, and the Chinese from knowing every time we sneeze and anything else we do. That's what our government is upset with. They don't want TikTok to be a time bomb for the Chinese to learn everything they can about us. It isn't a bad thing. They're trying to protect us from the TikTok, the Chinese version of the TikTok. So I encourage it to be sold. I encourage it to be shut down if it's not transformed, and that they don't get a vote, they don't get a choice, they don't operate in America if they don't remove the Chinese element out of the TikTok program. Why? Because we want to protect our children, our young adults, our seniors, everybody who uses TikTok from being some kind of a pathological scientific study for the Chinese. We need to have a certain amount of privacy, especially from the Chinese, who have basically, if it wasn't for Trump, who knows what we would be in with them. But they certainly want to know every thought we have so that they can make a psychological psyop against us if they want to. And we need to prevent that from happening. That's what my word is for you tonight. So all I hope for you tonight is that you realize that God loves you. He's inside of you 24/7 without exception, and that you are very loved by our God. And you know what? Put God first. Open your Bible, start reading in Genesis. God knows when you do this, and he wants you to study him so you can know your Father in heaven, who is your first Father, foremost at all times. First Father at all times. Put God first. On that note, my friends, have a great night. I love you, my brothers and sisters, and I'll see you again real soon. Have a good night.